Welcome back to the channel, guys. So earlier I dropped a video talking about this leak from Kapu, Gamers Will Perish, with the Super Nintendo, these 22 games that look like they're going to be released on the Nintendo Switch Online service. And there was something that I missed that I actually find even more interesting that kind of ties in with this, but not exactly the Super Nintendo side of it. And I've seen some people talking on my Facebook group, out there in the Twitter world, and a few other places, about how this means, like, hey, there's going to be some more mini consoles, at least a couple of them coming out soon. Nintendo's going to announce this stuff. And I don't necessarily know if that's true, but to jump on top of this little post from Kapu, there's another guy out there, Snowmeal Dome. He's stating that he was looking through the same data and whatnot, data mining this stuff. I'm not familiar with how all that works, but you guys catch my drift. He was digging through the data, and he found some emulator types. So Kachi, Catchy, Coochie Coochie, I don't know how to frick you say that, is the NES Classic. So the NES games that are on the Nintendo Switch are using the NES Classic emulators. Maybe they tweaked some things with it for it to work on the Nintendo Switch the way they have it, user interface, that kind of thing, right? And then Canoe, which is the Super Nintendo Classic, which kind of ties into these 22 leaked games that look like they should be getting released on the Nintendo Switch. I would imagine later this year. I don't think they're going to drop anything this soon. Who knows? Maybe by Easter, the springtime. So who knows for sure, but I'm damn near positive they're going to drop some Super Nintendo games. And then there was two more listed, and the next one, Hyoko, and then Count. I've seen some other people state that it's only really 3 emulators being listed here, and Count is just, hey, it's the count of how many emulators there are. It's not an actual extra line of data. It's just a count in that programming, in that data for how many emulators there are available. I'm pretty sure that's probably the right answer to that, and it's only one additional emulator, Hyoko, because I've seen some articles and some people talking about saying, oh, with these 2 emulators on the Nintendo Switch, this means that the Nintendo 64 Mini is coming, this means the GameCube Mini is coming, so on and so forth. And I don't believe that one bit. First off, the GameCube Mini, if that is a likely possibility, anything's possible. GameCube Mini wouldn't be coming out for a while. Like, to sell something like that can play GameCube games in a miniature console that isn't priced the same as like a normal console, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think any company's going to be able to produce a GameCube Mini that's cost effective, that's attractive to the consumer. Nintendo 64 Mini, I think they're a little closer to doing that, a lot closer. I think they could drop a Nintendo 64 Mini pretty much whenever they wanted. They have, games that can run on the Wii. They can emulate a good handful of games very well. There's been a lot of little things that kind of, have been out in the rumor mill and the world of people talking, the passionate gamers and whatnot, and the not so passionate ones, the naysayers, the people who are hoping. You know what I'm saying here, but there's been a lot of little things that have kind of pointed at, okay, well, Nintendo will probably release something with the Nintendo 64 game set that was released on the Wii, since the NES Classic, Super Nintendo Classic, is more powerful than the Wii. It's not necessarily the same architecture or anything like that, but if they can do it on the Wii, I'm sure they could port that to something else fairly reasonably for Nintendo 64. GameCube, just out of the question at this time. I think Nintendo 64, more so the logistics of getting controllers out there, setting the system up. Are you going to ship it with 1 controller, 2 controllers, 3, 4? Are you going to support 4 controllers? The controller is going to be original size. Are you going to improve upon that god-awful analog stick that just, the design was bad? We've talked about that a lot, but I think there's a lot of things that got to be worked out. That will happen, I'm sure. But Hyoko, is that Nintendo 64? Does that mean that the Nintendo 64 Mini is coming? I don't want to say for sure. My thought is that this might be like Game Boy Advance, possibly Nintendo 64. And then that count line, I'm cutting that one out. I don't think it means anything other than how many emulators there are. Nintendo has a lot of consoles, a lot of portables. I definitely see them adding some more stuff. And like I said earlier, with the Super Nintendo stuff being added, that's going in the right direction. But the people who are thinking this means that these classics are coming out, I don't necessarily want to agree with that yet. It's a good precursor to those kind of things, but we got to wait and see. What is Hiyoko? Is this Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, or Nintendo 64? Those are the only possibilities I can see at this time. The possibility of GameCube, maybe. If it is GameCube, I think it's just going to be emulated on the Nintendo Switch hardware, and there's not going to be a mini console. So let me know what you guys think. I just thought this was a little interesting tidbit of news that I kind of bypassed, didn't really look at it. All credit to these guys for digging into this information and finding this stuff. I do find this kind of stuff really interesting. You know, a little skeptical on some things, but hey, I love this kind of stuff. Just kind of having that precursor to what will come in the future gets people talking, debating, you know, a little arguing here and there. It's all good. I find it interesting. I hope you guys do as well. If you don't, that's all right. But hey, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Smash that like button. Make sweet ass love to that notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom!